From waiting 45 minutes to get into a nightclub to a button dedicated to smoking, these are the 25 dumbest features in video games. And I gotta start with Borderlands the pre-sequel because it has one of the funniest skill trees I've ever seen. If you decide to waste a point on the Inspire perk, it'll make Handsome Jack randomly interrupt your game to drop a few words of greatness.
You've got a great personality.
Thank you.
And things get really dumb in Hitman 3's nightclub level. There are so many ways to get inside this place, but most players don't realize you can walk right through the front door. Except, there's a catch. You need to actually wait in line like a regular person, and by the way, this queue takes like 45 minutes. So if you actually decide to do all of this, just make sure you fit the dress code.
Nice suit, sir, really. But I'm sorry, I can't let you through.
Over in the Super Smash Bros. Series, one of the best items is arguably the Pokeball. Now, players absolutely love this thing, especially when you get a Charizard or Blastoise, but there's a problem. The Pokeball is total RNG, so there's a chance you'll get a Goldeen instead, the most useless item in the game.
Do something!
If there's a game with pointless features though, it's gotta be Metal Gear Solid 2, and there's an exclusive item that's only available to the most hardcore players. Anyone who selects hard or extreme difficulty, you'll now be able to find a secret shaver during your playthrough. This thing is pretty hidden, but once unlocked, Snake's entrance is a little too dramatic.
Been waiting long.
From this point onward, Snake has no beard for the rest of the game, and it literally has no other use. Taking it over to Mass Effect, as a BioWare game, there are way too many options when it comes to customization, and one of those is the ability to buy pets when you first get home. Sounds adorable, and it honestly is, but then you're given the option to buy fish. When you return home, the fish tank is now full of life, and everything seems great. Except you have to feed these guys after every single mission you do, and if you forget even once, they die. Why do they even gotta add this? Rewinding back to Hitman, the entire game is about putting on disguises. It's 1847's whole thing, but sometimes I don't think he actually understands what he's wearing. During some missions, you can disguise as a kitchen staff or lab worker, and the one thing they all have in common is a hairnet, which is pretty funny considering my man's bald.
Hello there.
And another franchise known for being over the top is Dead Rising. Man, I absolutely love this series because you're basically stranded in a shopping mall full of zombies, but it's a treasure trove for the dumbest items in gaming. At one point, you can get your hands on a water gun, which already sounds useless, but shoot this thing at a zombie and you'll instantly realize it was a troll from the devs. Now, you might think NBA 2K22 is your average basketball game, but one of their features is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. After you score some points, you can celebrate for a brief moment, except if you get carried away and run into the commentator's desk, you'll actually go straight over. At least it's funny, unlike Resident Evil 5's feature that will drive you insane. They dedicated the B button to calling your companion to you, and you can just spam this thing over and over.
Come on!
Hurry up!
Come on!
Hurry up!
Come on!
Come
Come
on!
on! Come on! Come on!
Now, this wasn't too bad as a solo feature, but in multiplayer, people use this to really piss off their friends.
Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Thanks.
And one of the most annoying features in any game is a boss battle that you literally can't beat. In Sekiro, the first boss puts up an impossible fight, but of course, this is a From Software game, so the players are determined. For those who actually manage to pull it off, it can take hours, and once his health bar hits 0, well done, you finally won. Wait, what? All of that and he still cuts off your arm anyway? Come on. And while that was pretty rough, there's a feature in Totally Accurate Battlegrounds that'll make you feel better. It's a parody of Battle Royale games like PUBG, and it's honestly pretty hilarious. Especially when you press the G on your keyboard, unlocking the secret beatbox button. And I don't even need to tell you how ridiculous Heavy Rain is, though. The game has a reputation for being a total meme, whether it's shouting Jason or Sean constantly. While at another point, you're chasing the villain, and you gotta perform these quick-time events for a smooth chase. Unlike most games where you'd fail the mission if you miss the events, Heavy Rain made an alternate cutscene for every single fail. And in this level, there are dozens of moments where you can fail, causing the most hilarious chase scene in gaming history.
Let me tackle it!
Hey man, what the fuck?
Now, I would never recommend smoking, but in a video game, it can look badass. And I guess that's why Vanquish added a button that literally lets you smoke whatever you want.
Better have a smoke. That's the best feature of the game.
This is gonna be one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, but I kinda want this in every game now. Although I don't want to be the guy who does this quest in Skyrim. No Stone Unturned is one of the most hated side quests in gaming, as you need to track down 24 gems that are scattered throughout the entire map. Now, if you've played Skyrim, you already know how big of a task this is, and it literally takes forever. Once every last one of them are collected, guess what? You're not done. Now you'll get another quest, which asks you to go through a super long cave with tons of enemies. It's ridiculous. So surely doing all of this is worth something insane, right? Well, once all the steps are complete and every single gem is collected, you'll finally get your reward, a gem finder. Yeah, the devs over at Bethesda are total trolls. Now, Escape from Tarkov has a feature with incredible attention to detail, but it's kind of backfired massively. The game's weather system isn't random, it's actually based on real life. The weather has parallels with the dev's location of St. Petersburg, Russia, and there it rains a lot. This randomly makes the visuals more cluttered and sounds extremely difficult to hear, which a lot of players have said they're not fans of. But not all useless features are bad though, some of them make the experience way more fun. Like in Far Cry 6, when you turn on the radio, there's a couple songs that your character will actually sing along to. And I think it's safe to say that Red Dead 2 is probably the most immersive and realistic video game ever created. And I can say that because they go out of their way to really make you feel like you're working for a band of outlaws. You can walk around camp and perform basic chores like carrying hay bales, chopping firewood, even filling the wash basin. Not a single player wants to do chores, but I'm not gonna lie, I found myself doing these just to help out the camp. What's super disappointing though is if you never do a single chore, your companions do them anyway, making the whole system kinda pointless. And that's just like Cyberpunk's worst perk. This feature wasn't added for immersion or any other reason, it just simply doesn't make sense. In the early days of the game, you could unlock a perk named Commando, which did one thing, not being able to be detected underwater. Now that actually sounds pretty good, and in most games it would be, but there's a problem. Cyberpunk doesn't have a single underwater combat mission, so the perk is literally useless. This thing ended up being so dumb that the devs even removed it in a future patch. And the funniest way to waste your time has to go to Borderlands 2. One of the mini side quests includes Grandma Flexington, and if you want to get a reward, she has a single mission: listen to her story. Except this story, it's over 20 minutes long. You have to literally sit here and listen to the whole thing while she rambles on about garbage. Now sure, most people would walk away, grab a drink or something, but that's when Grandma pauses mid-story and straight up quizzes you.
What's my favorite flavor of ice cream? Also, you are listening. How wonderful.
You had to be listening to the whole thing or else you'll get it wrong, and if you do, she starts all over again. Over in Luigi's Mansion, this series finally puts a spotlight on Mario's brother, who's kind of been sidelined all these years. Except Mario still finds a way to be special in these games too, because there's a button reserved just for saying,
Mario. Mario. Mario.
It doesn't do anything else, it's literally just a Mario button. And things get even dumber in Morrowind. As you're exploring the open world, there's an area which has probably the most useless bridge in the history of gaming. I mean, come on Bethesda, what even is this? And that brings us to Assassin's Creed Black Flag. For a lot of AC players, this was their favorite in the series, and it's mostly down to the world of pirates and how well Ubisoft pulled it off. Now, a huge part of this is the sea shanties while you're sailing around the world. It's a core part of the game that brings everything together. Well, that's unless you're some kind of weirdo who goes into the settings to turn it off. Now, I have no idea why anyone would ever do this, making it the most random option in the game. But still not as funny as the time Call of Duty added a feature so dumb that it became a meme. In Advanced Warfare, you have to attend a funeral where everyone's deeply saddened. Now, most games would have you sit in silence respectfully, but Call of Duty turned this into a QuickTime event. For some reason, you have to press F to pay respects, which is honestly such a stupid feature. But hey, at least it's hilarious, unlike Ghost Recon Breakpoint's dumbest feature. Back in 2021, Ubisoft hopped on the strangest bandwagon out there, NFTs. They tried to find a way to put these into games, starting with their first ever experiment, Ghost Recon. Here, players could earn NFT items for playing, except they were kinda useless. It didn't actually change anything except for your gun having a unique serial number and slightly different look. And one NFT was only available if you played for over 600 hours. But it gets even more ridiculous when you realize Ubisoft abandoned the program after less than a year. Then again, 2,256 NFTs were made for the game, and only 15 of them were sold, so major yikes. But I hope the people who write up tip screens are having a wonderful day, because genuinely these make me laugh. Some devs will go out of their way to write a useless tip to prank us or joke around. Like in Metal Gear Solid, where it says, when you get shot, you'll sometimes suffer a gunshot wound. Yeah, thanks for that. And Assassin's Creed says, the best strategy for defeating enemies is to reduce their health to 0 while maintaining your own health above 0. But Doom is easily the clear winner with, to defeat the cyber demon, shoot at it until it dies. And those were the dumbest features in video games. It's been Sammy. Keep it here on T5G.